Hi, this is Dr. Clayton. Welcome to Hypnosis Chat episode 14. And today we're going to talk about something that either affects everyone or you'd like for it to affect you. And that is motivation for working out. Most people work out to one extent or another, whether it's once a month or twice a day. So today, essentially, we're going to focus on what makes the difference between someone who works out on a regular basis and really enjoys it versus someone who would like to work out, but they just never get around to it. They can't motivate themselves to do that. And this is something that I've thought about and worked with for a long time. And so let's take a minute to talk about what is the difference between work and play. It seems obvious on the surface, but really it has nothing to do with whether you're getting paid for it. It really even has nothing to do with whether or not someone else told us to do it or whether we're choosing to do it. What it comes down to is when you're done. So when you are doing work, you're done when someone else is happy, when someone else is satisfied. So for example, if you're doing some kind of work, whether it's school work or work or even if it's a chore, you're done when an external criterion has been met. As opposed to play, where play is something that it could be the same activity. So the activity doesn't matter. Some people even like clean their house in the play way because they're motivated to do it. They want to do it. And they're not doing it until they get to an external criterion that someone else has defined. They're doing it until they're happy. So play is essentially defined by an activity, regardless of why you're doing it, that you finish when you're happy with the results. So let's look at a couple examples. There's like a cleaning example. Some people like cleaning. I myself found when I bought my house that suddenly I started enjoying cleaning a little more because I'm doing it for myself and I do it until it meets my expectations, until I'm done with it. Another great example is brushing your teeth. When you're a little kid, it's work because you're brushing your teeth because your parents told you to brush your teeth and you kind of have to do it in the way that they say to do it and for as long as they want you to do it. But after a while, it gets to the point where you are doing it because you want to do it, because you're getting a benefit from it, and you do it until you're done. You don't usually do it for 2 minutes or whatever. Most people don't sit there with a stopwatch and brush their teeth until 2 minutes, and then wherever they are, they stop at 2 minutes. Most people don't do that. Most people brush their teeth until they're done brushing their teeth, until they feel like their teeth are properly brushed based on their own internal criteria. So that's really the key thing, the difference between work and play. And I think this is the central mechanic that creates or fails to create motivation in any activity. So are you doing it until someone else is happy, or are you doing it until you're happy? So let's look at that process a little more closely, and it mirrors the compulsion process. You can think of motivation as being something that you feel like you want to do, but you don't necessarily have to do it, versus a compulsion where you feel like you have to do it, usually associated with some kind of drug or obsessive behavior. So there's a lot of similarities, but of course you want to be in control of yourself. So we want motivation to do things that we want to do. So here's kind of how that process works. It starts with there being a goal state that makes you feel good. So for example, if you like cleaning, everyone who likes cleaning, so if you, the listener, like cleaning, or might not be cleaning, it might be organizing. Do you have a collection of something that you like organizing? Do you have something, a room of the house that you really like that you like to keep neat? Do you like to have your desk neat, or is there something that you like to have clean, neat, or organized? If you do, focus on that for a second. And what you'll notice is that when you think about that area of your life, in perfect order, whether it's a thing or a place or a collection or whatever it is, when you think of that as being in perfect order, it gives you a good feeling. You got something like that, right? I mean, everybody has something that they like to keep neat or organized, regardless of how they are with the rest of their life.
Maybe it's everything.
Or it could be everything. That's right. Some people they like everything to be neat. And that's because they have a way that they're imagining it in their mind that makes them feel good, right? So if you like having a clean kitchen, for example, you have in your mind a picture of a clean kitchen and it gives you a good feeling. That is how all motivation starts, this starting state of, people who don't like doing a certain chore, I guarantee you that they don't have primary in their mind an image of that chore being done. They're imagining it in the dirty state. It's like, okay, I've got to fix this problem, as opposed to there's this good state that gives me a good feeling that I'm chasing after. So, and again, you can kind of see the similarities between a compulsion and a motivation. So, there's kind of a fine line there, but they work mechanically the same way. So, okay, so we start with a state an image in our mind that gives us a good feeling. And the second thing is having a present state, a real state that doesn't match that image. So, for example, if we, let's go to brushing your teeth. If you have this nice clean feeling in your mouth that you like, and you don't have that feeling, then that creates a problem. It creates tension. So if you like having a clean kitchen or a mowed lawn or a organized collection, and you see it and it's not organized, there is a disconnect between the way things really are and that thing that gives you a good feeling. So that is what creates motivation. That tension is what creates all motivation. So every motivation that everyone has or could have is created by the dissonance between their current state and their ideal state that they have in their mind that they imagine will give them a good feeling. That is that is the engine for motivation. So, all right, so we've got goal state that feels good, a mental, imaginary goal state that feels good. We have a present state that does not match that goal state. And there's one other element that is the catalyst for this energy, and that is having a default method to get to that state. So, for example, if you have a thing that you like, and then you see that the world is not that way, but you have no way of getting there, you don't have motivation, you have despondency or depression or helplessness. Those things are a direct result of having this energy that could be motivation, but no catalyst, no method to get there. Mm-hmm. So if you have a place, it'd be really nice to be in this place, I'm not in that place now, but I don't have a car, then you don't have motivation, you have frustration or some kind of, despondency, some kind of bad feeling. So you need a goal state, something that when you think about it, it gives you a good feeling. Mm-hmm. You have the present state, which does not match the goal state, and then you have a method to get to the goal state. When all those three things come together, that magically creates motivation. Okay, so now we've talked about the theory. Let's talk about some things in more detail. So, for example, your current state could be a problem. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, let's do a couple examples first. So we've got, we'll use the brushing the teeth example. So we've got a ideal state, which is the nice, clean taste in your mouth. You've got the current state, which might not match that. And then you've got a method for meeting that state. So it's brushing your teeth. Same thing with doing the dishes or mowing the lawn or organizing your collection or whatever you have. You've got a state that you like, a current state, you've got a problem state, and then you've got a method for getting there, a default method for achieving the goal state. So in all things that you have motivation, you go through, there are these three required elements. So now to be, for a little bit more clarification, the current state could be a problem state. Like, so you've got your ideal state, and the current state could be a problem state, like it's creating stress or boredom, or it could not. It might not be a problem state. It might just be different than the ideal state. For example, let's just say, my favorite TV show is on tonight. The fact that it's not currently on is not a problem, but I anticipate that when I watch the show, I will feel good. So that creates motivation. So the ideal state is still a thing that I imagine will make me feel good. But the current state, and the current state still doesn't match that. So the current state could be a problem, like stress or boredom, like I'm coming home from a stressful day at work, and so I need to do something to relax. That could be, and then I've got a default way in mind. Again, notice how if you don't have one of these elements, you've got a different feeling. So for example, let's just say that you've got a stressful day at work, you've got the problem, and you are coming home and you want to relax, but you don't have a method for doing that. You're just going to be frustrated and stressed. So the point now is that the current state could be a problem state, or it could just be not the goal state. Like, I want to watch my favorite TV show. I'm feeling fine now, but I'll feel even better when I watch my TV show. I still have motivation to watch the TV show later, because it'll, I imagine that will make me feel better. I would probably theorize that it would create more motivation if you go from problem state to goal state rather than no problem state. To, like, it might be more motivating to be escaping a bad feeling to get not to neutral but to a good feeling, as opposed to something like where I'm just feeling neutral and there's a good thing coming up. So in other words, maybe something like getting something to drink when you're thirsty or brushing your teeth when you need to might be more motivating than watching the TV show. Or maybe not. That's just kind of a theoretical thing.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, please.
I was just wondering about, could you kind of bribe yourself to be motivated, saying, if I work out, then I'll watch my TV. Then I'll get to watch my TV.
That's an interesting idea. And you know what I love about your questions?
They're weird.
No. What I love about your questions is that I have like this carefully planned thing. Okay, here's the first layer of complexity. Here's the second layer of complexity. Here's the third layer. You're with me so far? And I'm just like, oh, what about layer 17? So yeah, that's her mind always thinks like 10 levels in advance. So yes, you could do that. I wouldn't call that bribery. Right. That having been said, I would probably say that's kind of a crutch. Like saying that I will do this additional thing if you do that will be less effective than focusing on the benefit of doing the thing directly. Because one of the things I'm about to talk about is you are primarily motivated by the immediate good feeling that you get from doing the activity. You want the space between the action and the reward to be as small and feeling oriented as possible. It's kind of like the dogs sitting without a treat.
You don't want them to become dependent on the treat. So you don't want to become dependent on working out and watching the show and have them like.
You want them to sit because it gives them a good feeling to follow directions. That's and it's the same thing. What we're going to talk about is you want to go for the good feel, but we're not there yet. We're not quite there yet. So because that's a big jump. What I'm about to say, I'll give you a sneak peek of what I'm about to say. I'm about to say that the best way to motivate yourself to work out is to enjoy the good feeling that comes from working out. But a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have that feeling or whatever. So there's a couple things that need to be said before that. It is, in fact, true that you feel better when you work out. And the best way to motivate yourself is to chase that good feeling of working out. But we're not there yet. In the same way that if there's someone who doesn't, like, let's just say someone doesn't work out that much, and we'll compare them to someone that doesn't brush their teeth that much. If you tell the person who doesn't brush their teeth that much, who would like to brush their teeth more, but they're not motivated to, if you tell them, the real reason you should brush your teeth is so that your teeth feel clean. Now, of course, there's long-term advantages, which are more important, but the most direct motivating way to think about it is the immediate good feeling. But the problem is the person who doesn't brush their teeth that much, they're going to say, I don't really know what you're talking about, because they don't brush their teeth that much. So we have to kind of build up to that. Like, so that's kind of what we're going to do now. Okay, so let's see. So I've actually gone over a couple of the points. Number one, it's the immediate feeling state, not the long-term state that motivates us. So usually the long-term benefit is the intellectual reason we want to do something, and it's usually the more important reason we want to do something. We want to brush our teeth so our teeth don't fall out of our head, as my mom would say. We want to exercise so that we don't die of a heart attack, etc. We want to do things for our health, for intellectually, for the long-term benefits, but that's what appeals to your conscious mind. That doesn't appeal nearly as much to your unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind is primarily motivated by immediate feelings. So in the same way that like a puppy, or a child, is most motivated by immediate feelings rather than long-term goals. And I would really, say everyone. It's not just a puppy, a child. It's really everyone. Every single person, regardless of how intelligent or mature they are primarily motivated by immediate feelings. So, for example, here, let's take that like one step further. You don't brush your teeth, and this is going to sound crazy. You don't brush your teeth for your long-term dental health. You brush your teeth so you can get the good teeth brushed feeling. So now here's the thing. You create policies, intellectual policies and rules for yourself based on long-term health. So I have rules for myself. I brush my teeth X number of times a day. I use floss. I do this stuff. These are rules that I have for myself based on long-term dental health. But when it comes right down to it, that's not the thing that motivates me to get in there and brush my teeth. Mm-hmm. It's the actual feeling. I have a certain present state, and I want to chase that feeling of that good feeling that I get from brushing my teeth.
Is that the same as being impulsive?
No, it's probably related. Like, I would say that someone who's impulsive ignores the long-term benefit. They have fully embraced this idea that you're motivated by the immediate feeling. So there does need to be a balance. People who are impulsive will often regret that because they're not balancing. They're not creating rules for themselves that they're enforcing that are based on their intellect. So everyone needs to have rules for themselves based on their long-term benefit, and also, embrace these, chasing good health things for the good feeling they provide. So we have to balance that. People who are impulsive, that's just a short way of saying they do too much of the feeling chasing and not enough of the rule creating. So you don't brush your teeth for your long-term dental health. You brush your teeth for the immediate experience. That's primarily what motivates you on a day-to-day basis. It's not like I make new rules for myself every day. I just did that once or a couple times. And, on the day-to-day basis, it's the feeling that I'm chasing that is fueling me to actually go take care of my teeth. Okay, and that's true for everything, all motivation. Okay, let's see. So a note to clarify, we make intellectual policies for ourselves based on long-term health, but the thing that actually motivates us in the present is the immediate feeling. So that's kind of the summary for what we're just talking about. Okay, so let's get back to working out. We haven't talked much about working out. We're talking more about things that everyone is already familiar with, like brushing your teeth, doing the dishes, things like that. So, and this is where it gets a little subtle, because if you already work out a lot, so right now I'm just talking to the people that already work out a lot. Probably not most of the audience, but who knows? I enjoy working out. To the people that already work out a lot, you already know that if you don't work out for a few days, you feel a certain way that makes you want to go work out. In the same way that if you don't brush your teeth for X amount of time, you start to want to brush your teeth because you have that not teeth brushed feeling. So here's the secret. And I don't know what percentage of the audience is going to be ready to accept this. The secret is, just as you get a not brushed teeth feeling if you don't brush your teeth, you also get a not worked out feeling if you don't work out. Now, just as when you're a kid, you don't have that sensitivity yet, you don't have the awareness of the not brushed teeth feeling yet. Mm-hmm. You have to develop that by brushing your teeth. When you brush your teeth and you raise your standards for what your mouth should feel like. And so you create this sensitivity to not having that state. Okay. So as you get older and you brush your teeth on a regular basis, you create this expectancy that your mouth should taste a certain way. And if it doesn't, you need to brush your teeth. So when you start working out, you will start to acquire that sensitivity as well to working out. So I would say, if you work out, this is really going to be the key thing that gets you working out on a day-to-day basis. There's more to motivation of working out than just this, but this is going to be the key thing that gets you working out on a day-to-day basis. So it's developing this feeling within yourself to notice how you feel when you don't work out. Like you might feel antsy, or like your muscles feel like lethargic, or they feel like they just haven't worked out in a while. I'm trying to describe the physical feeling. It's like they just haven't worked out in a while. They're too energetic. They're brimming with energy. And, sometimes you don't feel that way, but sometimes you do feel that way. And if you ever feel that way, that means that you haven't worked out in a while, and you will feel better from working out in the same way that you'll feel better from brushing your teeth when you have that feeling. Okay, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, and maybe even people that work out occasionally, maybe you can sort of get this idea. What is the opposite of the worked out feeling? How do you feel if you haven't, like if you work out once a week, how do you feel if you haven't worked out for 2 weeks? How does your body feel? Maybe you can get a little bit of that sense and focus on that. Most feelings you just don't notice because you don't pay attention, but go out of your way to pay attention. How do I feel if I haven't worked out for a couple of weeks? Focus on that, and you'll notice that as you work out, that feeling is replaced by a good feeling, and then you'll notice sooner that good feeling goes away and you need to work out again. Okay, so man, there's so much to talk about, so little time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so one more thing I really want to talk about related to this. So now you remember in the beginning we talked about how you have to have a goal state, a current state, which could be a problem state, and also a method that you're comfortable with, that you like, to getting to the goal state. Here's a key mistake that a lot of people make. Here's what a lot of people get. They're like, I would like to work out and I feel like working out, but then when I think about working out, I don't want to do it. I lose motivation when I imagine working out, when I go to do it. And here's what's going on. Here's the problem that's happening. If I were to right now think about running, like just get up and just run around the block, I don't want to do that because I'm not physically ready to do that right now. Anything that your body is not currently physically ready to do, it will resist, because you're imagining running around the block and your body's like, no, we're not ready to do that. So it resists it. But on the other hand, I'd be fine just standing up and stretching. I'm completely ready to do that. And my brain's totally fine with that. It's important that you don't try to make your unconscious do anything. Just like, we talked a little bit about last week, like in a marriage or a relationship, it's much better to have an agreement on a different conclusion than trying to force the conclusion that you want to have and have disagreement. That's the same thing with your conscious and your unconscious mind. So it's like, okay, well, I'm imagining running, but I'm getting resistance about that. So, okay, would it be okay to walk? Is walking okay? And then maybe you get less resistance. Well, how about just getting up and moving around and stretching? Okay, that feels fine. Great, I'll do that. And then here's where the magic happens. Then you're up and you're stretching, and suddenly it's fine to walk. Like your brain's like, okay, we can walk. And then you're walking, and after a couple minutes, oh, okay, well, we could jog. Jogging would be no problem. And then suddenly it's like, oh, I got a lot of energy. Let's run. So you've suddenly gotten yourself from not wanting to run at all to being completely fine with running or whatever the exercise is. So again, and we're coming all the way back to the beginning, which is, what's the difference between work and play? Play is when you finish, when you're achieving a feeling that you want to have. So if you are going through, and it's also like doing it by the method that you want to do it. You do it your way, and you do it until you feel like you're done. So if you want to, stand up and stretch, and then walk a little bit, and then jog, and then run, that's working with yourself. You're not doing something for someone else or because you have to. Don't do it because you have to. Do it because you have sort of discussed it with yourself, and you have a good feeling about doing it. When you come up with a way that you have a good feeling about, you'll always be motivated to do it. You'll have kind of a more and more frequent motivation to do it until you get to the point where you want to work out every day. So from now on, if you take nothing else from this, from now on, working out is a play activity. You do it your way, and you do it until you feel like you're done. Don't worry about how many minutes you did it. don't, and this is kind of a controversial thing to say because so many sources say, oh, you have to work out for X number of time. They're actually hurting. You want to do it in your way for your amount of time. And what will happen is you'll feel good about the activity, and then you'll want to do it for longer. You'll want to do it on a more regular basis, and it'll become a normal and part of your life that you actually look forward to. So that's it. We are out of time for today. Thank you all very much. Thank you for joining me, Anjali. And we will look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.